You ever have one of those days where the whole world just feels a little off, like the universe is holding its breath and waiting for something to happen? That's what it was like the day everything in Elijah Grant's mansion changed, and trust me, when a billionaire's life gets turned upside down by his own maid dancing barefoot in his living room, you know it's not just another Tuesday. The silence in that house was thick, a heavy blanket draped over every corner, no laughter, just the hush that comes before a storm. Malia stood at the kitchen sink, her fingers working fast over a wine glass that cost more than her rent, mind wandering far from the marble and cold tile, drifting somewhere warmer, safer. She was 24, but the shadows under her eyes told a much older story. Elijah, the youngest tech billionaire in the country, moved through that place like a ghost with a black Amex, barely seen, barely heard, engaged to the kind of woman you'd see on the cover of Vogue and hope never to meet in real life. Ava Daniels was sharp as broken glass, beautiful as an ice sculpture, and about as warm. She treated Malia like an accessory, a background prop that should stay silent, out of focus, and ready to serve. Malia, that voice, slicing through the silence like a fire alarm. Malia's heart jumped, hands fumbling with the glass as she dried them and hurried out, eyes low, voice steady. "Yes, ma'am," she answered, standing straight while Ava lounged on a white couch, phone in hand, heels tossed on the floor. "You didn't shine my shoes. Again. That kind of day. I'll do it now, ma'am." And Ava, never missing a chance to dig the knife in, sighed and let the insults roll, useless, lazy, invisible. The front door opened. Elijah's impeccable suit, unreadable face slipped through without so much as a nod. "Baby, you're back." Ava's tone flipped like a coin, sugary sweet, while Malia just held the shoes and tried not to let her heart show. "Next time, try not to embarrass me in front of him," Ava hissed. The words landed hard, but Malia swallowed them like she always did, tucked them away for later. That night, in her tiny room off the laundry, Malia lay on a thin mattress, clutching a photo of her mother in happier times. "Just one more day," she whispered to nobody. But the universe, it turns out, had plans, because by sunrise, everything started shifting. She woke before dawn, moving like clockwork, cold water, hair in a bun, uniform crisp and starched to please Ava's fussy taste. She cooked breakfast, polished silver, dusted stairs, set the table so precisely you'd think it was for royalty, not two people who barely noticed the effort. When she caught her reflection in the chandelier, she saw a stranger, tired, lips pressed tight, the dreams of her youth traded for survival. Ava's morning orders landed fast: smoothie, not too cold, unless you want it poured over your head. Malia, always yes ma'am, always quick, always invisible. Later, dusting a guest room, she found a tiny bottle of perfume, rose and amber, reminding her of her mother, of comfort, of who she used to be. Downstairs, Ava's laughter cut through the air, dismissing Malia as just the help on a video call, like she wasn't even human. But that day, something inside Malia stood up and refused to cry. "One day, they'll see you," a small voice insisted. The house buzzed as Ava packed for some fancy event overseas, barking instructions, threatening to fire the driver if he was late. By 10 a.m., she was strutting out the door, sunglasses flashing, purse swinging, not even looking at Malia as she left one last warning: stay out of the master bedroom. "It's not for people like you." And then silence. Real, delicious silence. Malia stood in the hall, mop in hand, and for the first time in months, let herself exhale. She put on the radio, let the music fill the space, danced a little while sweeping, laughed, even. Then she thought, why am I still in this uniform? She darted to her room, found her one nice dress, a burgundy gown she'd saved up for, soft and flowing. She slipped it on, touched up her lips, and for the first time in forever, she felt like herself. "Today I dance," she whispered, twirling alone in the empty mansion, swiping a secret sip of Elijah's fancy mango juice. She didn't know his meeting had been canceled, or that he'd be back any minute. The late afternoon sun painted the house gold as she drifted through, singing into a wooden spoon, bare feet gliding across marble, lost in her own joy. Elijah walked in, hearing music confused, curious followed the laughter upstairs and saw, through a cracked door, his maid transformed, spinning, radiant. He just watched, silent, spellbound. When he finally chuckled, she froze, mortified, caught in the act. "Don't stop," he said gently. "You were dancing beautifully." He wasn't angry. He was different, warm, present. Malia stammered apologies, ready to disappear, but Elijah shook his head. "Maybe you should dance more often," he mused. And just like that, the air changed. The next day, everything felt off balance. Malia dressed, hands shaking, poured Elijah's coffee, called him sir, out of habit. For the first time, he said her name, told her respect didn't have to be so formal. "About yesterday," he started, "I soft. I liked seeing you happy. Maybe you should be more often." A silence buzzed between them, charged and new. Malia slipped away, heart pounding, while Elijah sat thinking of her, not emails, not stocks, but the woman who danced when she thought no one was looking. That afternoon, he made her coffee, sat with her in the hallway, both sipping quietly. "You don't talk much," she teased. "Neither do you," he replied. They shared the silence, finding comfort in each other's company. As he left, he smiled. "And you can wear that dress again. You look happy." She stood there, stunned, feeling seen for the first time. Then Ava's hurricane returned. She blew in, accusing, sniffing for betrayal, and found the burgundy dress evidence, in her eyes, of some grand offense. Her rage boiled over, threats and insults flying. Elijah intervened, calm but fierce, telling Ava she'd crossed a line, asking her to treat people with respect. For the first time, he stood up for Malia. Ava stormed out, suitcases in hand, leaving Elijah and Malia alone in the hush that followed. Later, Elijah found Malia sitting behind the laundry, holding her dress for comfort. He sat with her, listened to her story about losing her mom, about dreams put on hold. He shared his own pain, parents lost young, building a life from nothing. "People think money erases pain," he said, "but it doesn't." She smiled, recognizing the loneliness in him. "Maybe pain teaches us how to love gently," she offered. The next morning, the rhythm of the house felt different. Elijah made breakfast for them both. They laughed over burnt toast, swapped stories about traffic and childhood, started teasing each other. Malia wore her dress again, just for herself, and Elijah noticed, "You look like you belong here," he said. Dinner together followed, just rice and stew, nothing fancy. For the first time, they felt like equals, no masks, no games. That night, a soft song played. Elijah asked her to dance awkward, tender, real. No fairy tale, just two people fumbling their way into something honest. In those quiet days, love grew in small moments, shared tea, inside jokes, gentle silences. They talked about dreams, about the scars money can't heal. Elijah reached for her hand, promising not perfection, but presence. Saturday morning, Malia, dressed not as a maid, but as herself, soft cream dress, gold chain, head held high. Elijah waited downstairs, nervous for once, offering her not a ring, but a silver braceleta promise that she belonged, truly belonged, in the house and in his life. Ava, watching from the shadows, realized too late that the crown had already passed. So, that's how a maid became a queen, not with jewels, but with dignity, with grace, with love. The girl who once faded into the wallpaper now walked through the sunlit halls, hand in hand with the man who finally learned how to see her. And if you ask me, that's the kind of story that makes you believe people can change, that sometimes the ones we overlook are the ones who change everything. If this story got you thinking, drop your thoughts below. What would you have done? What's the real measure of respect, of love, of justice in a world built on walls? Let's talk about it.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're-